Hi, Best Buds. It's Cathy with Cathy's Garden, and I'm so happy that you've joined me today. Today we're going to be making a journal fold-out. At least we're going to be beginning that project. And this is how it's looking so far. I'm going to take you through the steps of how you're going to get to this stage right here. But before I do that, I want to say that we're going to be using Chapter 1 Paper's newest kits. Oh my goodness, you guys, they've come out with some gorgeous things. This is Dusty Pink and Blue Junk Journal Papers. That's what they have entitled this newest kit. Now, I have a laser printer, so I am able to coffee dye the back of my pages, and I have selected a few of the pages in the kit that we're going to be using together in this project. Aren't they just gorgeous? I truly love this kit. So many possibilities. Now, this kit also, well, I should say there's two kits. There's one for the junk journal pages that I just showed you. And then there's another kit that goes along with it so you can get the ephemera pieces that you're going to need to make some of your projects. Now, this is called the Dusty Pink and Blue Ephemera Junk Journal Pages. And I have printed mine on cardstock, so mine's very firm, and I have gone ahead and I've coffee dyed mine before I've trimmed them out. So let's just flip through these. I love them. They are gorgeous. If I can get them separated here. Here we go. Look at those tags. Oh, and they go so perfectly with the pages. All right, so that's what we're going to be using in our project. So how did I get to this stage right here? Well, I got there by grabbing a file folder. Yes, I've drawn on my file folder just to help me tell you how you're going to cut down your file folder and how you're going to fold it so that you can have a flip out like this. Oh, I think it's going to be so much fun. So my file folder is 11 3/4 inches by, well, with the tab here, the tab makes it 9.5, and that is folded. Okay, I have folded it. So I am going to cut off of one of the ends. Now, I'm choosing to keep my little tab right here. So I've cut it off of this end, cut my paper on this end, and I have cut off 1, 2, 3, and 3 1/4. I don't know, I can't read it that way. Yeah, 3 3/4. 3 3/4 inches. I've cut that off. Then, turning it on the side, and this is the fold here, so it opens up this way, I trimmed off. Of course, you're going to cut this off first. If you cut this off, well, let's just do it so you can see what I'm talking about. Let's cut this off. So we're going to put it in our trimmer, and we're going to trim this off right here. Okay. Save this piece. We might want to put pockets and things. I'm not sure. But, you know, I always save my cardstock. And then this one right here, we're going to trim off. You're going to lift up this flap with the tab because you don't want to cut your tab. So I've opened it up, and this is where the file folder is folded. And we're going to be cutting off. Well, let's see here. How am I not going to be able to tell you that? With the tab, it's 1 1/4 inches. From here to here, it's 1 1/4 inches. I think that's the best way to say how to cut it. So I'm going to stick it in my guillotine, and I'm going to give this a chop. So we have kept this tab right here. Now, of course, I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to go ahead and remove this little portion right here. Okay. So now we look just like that. The next thing that we're going to need to do is we're going to need to fold it. So let me see here. How can I explain this? This is the same as this now. As you can see, it's the same. Well, let me put it down this way. It's the same. And we're going to fold up. So let me move this over here like this. So what I've done is, this is my folded one, my template. And I've put my one that we cut together with the tab on the bottom. Okay, because we're going to fold from here over. And I'm just checking because I've got a couple marks here and I think I need to take it down just a little bit more. So let me do that. All right, so let's say this. This is the file folder now. It looks just like this. So from the fold to the edge, it's 8 1/4 inches. And then, excuse me, from this, the fold, to the other end, it's about 8 inches. All right, so that will be helpful. Now we're right here. We've got the tab on. It will be like this. That's what I need to do. I need to fold it so that the tab is on the bottom, and it was like this, and I just pulled it around, okay? And we're going to fold this one over, and we're going to be folding it over. Let's measure here. About 3.5 inches. So we're going to fold this over 3.5 inches. And let's lining this up, and let's do. It's always better for me to do it this way, and then I don't mess up, because I'm afraid I'm going to mess up, and I don't want to mess up. So 3.25 inches. Now, if you you like to score, this is a great time to score. So I'm just going to get my ruler, and I want to place it right here on my fold. 3.5 inches. But I'm using my template, but if you don't have a template, it's 3.5 inches. You could use a scoreboard. That would be very helpful. I actually don't use a scoreboard. I started out when I first, you get all your tools you think you need. And I found out that, scoreboards and we just don't see the same. We don't measure the same. So I don't use a scoreboard. All right, so now we need to fold this side. So it's just the other side. That's one side. And this is the other side with the tab. And this is folded at, well, with the tab, let's call it the tab right here. It looks like about 4 1/4 inches, the fold, 4 1/4 inches. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pop this in here like this. And I know you don't have a template to follow, but it's 4 1/4 inches. Okay. There we go. Now we have it folded, and it folds out just like this. So your tab is on the front. So if it looks like this now, just like this, and we just fold it like an M, and then the tab, and then there's a little piece that sticks out like that. Okay. Alrighty. Now I've got 3. Maybe I'll be able to get these finished for Sunday's video. I'm not sure, but I know that this one will be available in our shop to restock. Now what I also did was I got my envelopes, the ones that have the windows. I coffee dyed mine. And then I took a piece of the papers, and I just selected some to place in the windows, and I did choose to sew around my windows. That's just an added layer, you guys. I know that some of you don't have sewing machines, or maybe you have them and you choose not to use them to sew your paper. That's okay, but sewing around doesn't mean that if you don't have a sewing machine, you can't make this project, because it'll look absolutely adorable without the sewing. I just like the added layer, and I like to sew paper. So you can still make this project if you don't have a sewing machine. So I thought that I would put these maybe right here. So this is my fold. Of course, I've inked mine too, so which it helps you see how everything looks. I'm thinking I might add this right here. Because see, it folds like this. Of course, I'm going to cut this off. And I'm thinking, wouldn't that be kind of cool to have a flip? And then I'm thinking also that I'm going to cut the top because it's too long. So maybe I could make this into a top loading pocket. Now I have a second one over here, and I thought I could maybe add the second one over here, and then it would fold like this. I think that would be super cool, and it would be some added flip outs in this little journal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these. I first need to mark to see where I need to cut them. If this is like this, now this one goes over here. I get so confused. I don't know about you guys, but do you confuse yourself? I do. I really have to think about it. All right, so because if we're cutting the top off, sorry guys, if we're cutting the top off, then I need to know exactly what end of the envelope I'm going to be cutting the top off of. So it's obviously this one here, so I'm going to mark it right there. And then I'm going to put this one in like this. And it's mainly because of my words. Where I put my papers in the windows, I don't want that upside down. So I'm going to put it in that way. It's going to be okay. Everything is just fine, right guys? Right. All right. So I think I'll just fold this up and mark it like this. All right. So I'm going to cut these off with my little tiny paper cutter. Okay, so now it's open like this. And I need to decide, are we really going to see inside of this? Do I really need to cover that? I don't know. I have to think about that. If I need to cover it, I might. I don't think that I do, but then I'm thinking, well, if it's a top-loading pocket, are we really going to look inside of there? Now, I think I'm going to cut mine a little shorter because I don't want it to be right on the edge. But I do have to be careful that I don't, well, for heaven's sakes, guys, I'm out of frame. I don't, I've sewn. So I want to see my sewing. So that's why I'm going to make mine a little shorter, making sure this is the correct end. Yes. And let's make it just a little bit shorter. All right, so I cut my envelopes so they are shorter. And now let's talk about maybe some pages in this journal. I am looking at the distance between, as this folds up like this, the distance between this first fold and the second fold. That's where, do I want to put my signature in here? Because I already have, I've talked about putting that envelope right here. So do I want to have my signature right here with this envelope? And this one I've talked about putting here. I'm wondering, I'm hoping, yeah, I think think maybe that's what I want to do. I might even put 2 signatures in here. Not big, but just a few pages, but I think it'll be really pretty. So let's make our pages, they can't really be any wider than the envelope, or it's not going to fit between here and here. This distance is 1 1/4 inches. 1 1/4, what am I talking about? 4 1/4 inches. And this envelope width, it's a little, just a smidgen over 4. So if we fold our pages 4 inches, so I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get this folded 4 inches. I don't know, sometimes I struggle. We all struggle, don't we? But I always show you all my struggles. Oh, I do. I do. Alrighty, so do I want another fold out in that one? I don't think so. I think I'm going to go ahead and trim this, and I'm also going to trim it so it's the correct length. So let me go ahead and let me work on maybe a couple of pages. All right, so I have cut one of the digitals from the kit, a pretty blue lined book page, and a coffee dyed paper. So that's going to be 6 pages, 7 counting the envelope. But if I use the envelope like this and sew it into this fold, the first fold here like that, I have this. And I can do one of 2 things. I could make this into a fold out like this, and I can cover this with another one of the digitals. And so instead of having it a pocket, I could actually have it another fold out. I think I'm going to do that. And that would fix my thing that I was thinking about, you know, covering up this. So instead of a pocket, we're going to make it into another fold out. All right, so I have lined and sewn my envelope. I chose this beautiful paper here. That's going to be gorgeous. Now, I'm actually thinking that I would like to go ahead and sew it in now. If I have too many pieces of things and they're all hanging around, I'm not sure. Oh, look. No, that's not going to matter. I have to think this through, because this closes like this. No, it does not. It closes like, good heavens, how does it close? Is that going to stick out? It closes like, oh, good heavens. How does it close, you guys? I'm lost. Okay, I have to remember. First, close this side. Then it goes like this. Okay, so that's, I was worried that it was going to show, but it's not going to show. There's going to be signature stitches right there. Am I going to like that? I think that's going to be okay, because I could actually have dangles coming out right here. All right, let's, I think it's going to work. All right, so let's go ahead and I'm going to pin this all up, and let's get this sewn, our first signature sewn in right here. Alrighty, so I've got it all pinned in. I've got my little tool, you know, about 1 inch to 2 inches, and the length of the journal. You fold it in half the long way, in half one more time, and one more time. Crease it well. Open it back up, and where the lines intersect, you put your little dots. And that's how you're going to know exactly where you're going to put your holes for your signature. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get this sewn in, and we're going to see what it looks like. I'm excited. All right, so let's look how this has turned out. Here's where we're going to put our dangles on our string that we sewed our signature in, and it looks like that. So far I really like it. And we've got a fold out right here, and then we have page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I have a little tab here from our envelope. I love it. I think this is going to just work out beautifully. The next thing that I think I'd like to do is work on making another signature on this side. So when you actually open it all the way up, you're going to have a signature over here, and you'll have a signature over here. I think that's going to be great fun. And I even like how the envelope, one window's up here and one window's down here. I'm going to get this sewn in. I'm going to select similar type of pages. Maybe I think I have another blue line book page and coffee dyed paper, and then another digital. I won't use the same one. And I'll get that sewn in. I might even add my dangles, and then we're going to decorate it. So goodness gracious, if you would like to see how this all turns out, check back next time, because I would really love for you to give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed the video, and I invite you to subscribe to my channel. So I will see you next time. See you there, guys. Bye now.